Tell me, where are you watching this right now? Is it early morning before the world wakes up? Is it late at night, when the noise has finally settled and you're left alone with your thoughts? Or maybe it's in the middle of the day, when life feels heavy and the weight of your struggles pulls you down. Wherever you are, and whatever time it is, I want you to lean in. Because today's message isn't just motivation, it's a call to action. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel, Short Revenge Stories. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we ignite a fire inside you that pushes you to rise higher. Now, let's talk about becoming unstoppable. The very word unstoppable carries a charge. It means nothing, no barrier, no rejection, no pain, no failure can hold you back. But let's be honest, how many times in your life have you felt stuck? How many times have you dreamed of something but told yourself, I can't do this. I'm not strong enough. I don't have what it takes. We've all been there. I want to take you on a journey, and like all great journeys, it begins with struggle. Imagine a young man. Let's call him Daniel. Daniel grew up in a small town where no one really believed in dreaming big. His parents worked hard, but their lives were a constant cycle of bills, shifts, and exhaustion. Teachers told him to be realistic. Friends mocked him when he dared to think differently. Every time he shared a dream, people laughed. And eventually, he started laughing too, at himself. He started believing that maybe they were right. Maybe he wasn't meant for greatness. Sound familiar? Because the truth is, Daniel's story isn't just his. It's yours. It's mine. It's the story of anyone who has ever felt crushed by the weight of doubt, fear, and rejection. But here's where the shift happens. The day Daniel decided to stop asking the world for permission to be great. The day he stopped waiting for approval and decided to give himself the green light. That's the first step to becoming unstoppable. You stop waiting for others to validate you. You stop depending on people to tell you that you're good enough. You decide. Think about it. Every unstoppable person you admire, every legend, every success story started in the same place. As someone ordinary, facing extraordinary challenges. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter saw the light of day. What made them unstoppable wasn't the absence of failure. It was their refusal to stop trying. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. That's a Japanese proverb, and it's the anthem of the unstoppable. You see, becoming unstoppable isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to walk through it, drenched, bruised, but still moving forward. I remember once hearing a man say, pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. Think about that. The pain you're in right now, the rejection, the loss, the heartbreak, the frustration, it will fade. It will pass. But if you quit, if you surrender, that decision will live with you forever. That regret will haunt you every time you see someone else succeed and whisper, that could have been me. So let me ask you, what is holding you back right now? Is it fear? Fear of failing? Fear of looking foolish? Fear of starting small? Or is it comfort? Because comfort is the silent killer of dreams. Comfort whispers, stay here. Don't try too hard. Don't risk too much. Play it safe. But here's the truth. Nothing great ever comes from comfort. Growth only happens when you step outside that zone, when you dare to chase what feels impossible. Daniel realized this the day he decided to run his first marathon. He wasn't a runner. In fact, he was the kid always picked last in gym class. But he woke up one morning, looked in the mirror, and thought, if I can push my body past what I think is possible, maybe I can push my mind too. He trained for months, stumbling, cramping, gasping for air. People laughed at him. You? A marathon runner? Don't be ridiculous. But every insult, every doubt became fuel. And on the day of the race, he ran, not just for the finish line, but for every version of himself that had ever felt weak, broken, or unworthy. That's what being unstoppable looks like. It's not about the medals, the applause, or the recognition. It's about proving to yourself that you can keep going when every muscle in your body and every voice in your head is screaming, stop. And here's the secret. You don't have to run a marathon to feel this. Becoming unstoppable isn't about one giant leap. It's about the daily steps. It's about choosing discipline over excuses. It's about waking up earlier, pushing a little harder, refusing to give up when things get tough. It's about asking yourself every single day, am I moving closer to my dream, or am I letting fear win? Let me tell you something you need to hear. The life you dream of is waiting for you, but it won't come to you. You've got to chase it. And along the way, people will doubt you, mock you, even betray you. But none of that matters if you refuse to stop. Because here's the truth, there will always be obstacles. Always. That's life. But obstacles are not walls, they're tests. They're asking you, how bad do you really want this? Are you willing to bleed for it? Are you willing to fight for it? And if your answer is yes, then nothing can stop you. Not failure, not pain, not fear. Nothing. So tonight, or tomorrow morning, whenever you hear this message, I want you to make a choice. A choice to stop living on autopilot. A choice to stop letting fear drive your life. A choice to become unstoppable. Because the world doesn't need more people playing small. The world needs fighters, dreamers, warriors. The world needs you at your strongest, your boldest, your fiercest. And if you've ever doubted yourself, hear this. You are stronger than you think. You are braver than you believe. And you are capable of more than you can imagine. This is just the beginning. The fire is lit. Now it's time to feed it. The hardest battles you will ever fight are not against the world, but against yourself. Think about it. How many dreams have died, not because someone else crushed them, but because you gave up on yourself? How many times have you been your own greatest enemy? Self-doubt is the silent killer of potential. Fear is the invisible chain that keeps millions locked away from their destiny. And procrastination, oh, that thief of time, robs you of the only resource you'll never get back. Your days, your hours, your minutes. Daniel, the young man I told you about earlier, faced this exact war. After finishing his marathon, he felt unstoppable. For a moment, he believed he could conquer anything. But the truth is, life doesn't give you one battle. It keeps testing you. The marathon was a victory, but then came the real challenge, the quiet days after. No cheering crowd, no finish line, just the grind of everyday life, bills piling up, responsibilities weighing heavy, and the voice in his head whispering, "You're tired. You've done enough. Why keep pushing?" That voice lives in all of us. The voice that says, "Stay in bed a little longer." The voice that says, "Skip the workout. Forget the business idea. You'll fail anyway." That voice wants to keep you safe, small, and ordinary. But you are not ordinary. To become unstoppable, you must learn how to silence that voice. Or better yet, use it as fuel. Here's the truth. Fear never disappears. Doubt never fully vanishes. Even the most successful people you admire still feel it. The difference is, they don't let it control them. They act anyway. They move forward scared, shaking, sometimes even broken, but they move forward. Think about Thomas Edison. People remember him as the man who invented the light bulb. But do you know how many times he failed? 10,000. Imagine failing 10,000 times. Most people would quit after 5 attempts, maybe 10, maybe 100. But Edison kept going. When asked how he felt about failing 10,000 times, he said, "I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of the unstoppable. Daniel struggled with this lesson when he tried to launch his own business. He was tired of the cycle of working jobs he hated just to pay the bills. So he decided to start small, an online shop selling handmade wooden crafts. He poured his heart into it, but the first month brought only 2 sales. The second month, none. By the third month, his savings were gone, and his friends were laughing behind his back, told you it wouldn't work. That night, sitting alone in his tiny apartment, Daniel broke down. He felt like a fool. He thought about quitting, about going back to a safe job. But then he remembered the marathon. He remembered the finish line, the cramps, the exhaustion, the voice that told him to stop, and how he pushed through it anyway. And in that moment, he realized something powerful. The pain of failure is temporary, but the pain of regret is forever. So instead of quitting, Daniel adjusted. He learned, he studied, he changed his approach. And slowly, very slowly, orders began to trickle in. Not because it was easy, but because he refused to give up. And that's the lesson for you. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you won't fail. It means you refuse to stay down. It means you treat every failure as feedback, every setback as a stepping stone. Let me share with you something deeply personal. At some point in your life, you will hit rock bottom. Everyone does. Maybe it's losing a job. Maybe it's betrayal by someone you trusted. Maybe it's failure so big it feels like the end of your story. But here's the truth, it's never the end. Rock bottom isn't a grave. It's a foundation. It's the solid ground on which you can rebuild your life, stronger than before. You want to know why some people rise while others stay broken? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's grit. It's resilience. It's the decision to say, "This will not be the end of me. I will rise again." Let me give you a quote to carry with you. It always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela said that, and he was right. Everything looks impossible when you're standing at the bottom of the mountain. But the view from the top? It makes every step worth it. Daniel's journey was proof of this. Within 2 years, his little wooden shop grew into a thriving online business. The same people who laughed at him started asking for advice. But here's the thing, success wasn't the real reward. The real reward was knowing he had conquered himself. He had silenced the voice of doubt, beaten the temptation to quit, and proven that he could rise no matter what. And that's what you need to do. Not just once, but over and over. Because life will test you again and again. Every time you rise, life will ask, "Are you sure? Do you really want this?" And you'll have to answer with your actions, not your words. So here's your challenge. The next time fear whispers you can't, I want you to whisper back, "Watch me." The next time doubt says, "You'll fail," you say, "Failure is part of my story." The next time comfort says, "Stay here," you say, "No, I was built for more." Because deep down, you know it's true. You weren't born to play small. You weren't created just to survive. You were made to thrive, to create, to inspire, to push boundaries. You were made to be unstoppable. And being unstoppable doesn't mean being fearless. It means moving forward despite fear. It means showing up on the days you don't feel like it. It means being committed to your future self, not your current comfort. So as you're listening to this, ask yourself, what's one thing I've been putting off because of fear? What's one dream I've delayed because of doubt? Write it down. Say it out loud. And then start. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Because every unstoppable journey begins with one choice. The choice to start, even when you don't feel ready. Daniel's story is just one example. Your story is waiting to be written. And the only question is, will you write it in fear or in courage? Every unstoppable journey has a breaking point. That moment where the weight feels too heavy, the mountain too high, and the dream too far away. For Daniel, that breaking point came when his father passed away unexpectedly. Up until then, his business was growing, his confidence building. But loss has a way of shaking us to our core. Grief is not just about sadness, it's about doubt. When someone you love is gone, you start questioning everything. What's the point of working so hard? What's the point of chasing dreams when life can end in an instant? For weeks, Daniel spiraled. He stopped working, stopped running, stopped believing. The fire inside him dimmed. And I'll be honest with you, that's real life. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you never stumble. It doesn't mean you don't cry or break or question everything. It means that even when the fire burns low, you never let it go out completely. And here's the powerful truth. Sometimes, rock bottom gives you the clearest view of what truly matters. One night, Daniel found himself in his father's old garage, staring at the dusty tools and unfinished projects his dad had left behind. On the workbench was a small plaque with words engraved on it. "Don't die with your song still inside you." His father had bought it years ago, but never hung it up. Daniel stood there, tears running down his face, realizing that his dad had dreams too. Dreams he never fully chased because life got in the way. That night changed Daniel. That night he made a vow. "I will not leave this world with my song still inside me. I will not waste the time I've been given." And that, right there, is the turning point we all face. It doesn't have to come through loss. It might come through failure or betrayal, or even just waking up one morning and realizing you've been sleepwalking through life. But every unstoppable person has that moment where they say, enough. Enough waiting. Enough doubting. Enough playing small. Here's what I want you to understand. Becoming unstoppable is not about never falling. It's about deciding that no fall will ever be final. It's about standing up one more time than you get knocked down. Think of a diamond. Do you know how diamonds are formed? They're created under pressure, immense, crushing pressure. Without it, they'd never exist. And you, my friend, are no different. The struggles you're facing, the pressure you feel, it's not here to break you. It's here to shape you, refine you, make you unshakable. Daniel started rebuilding himself one step at a time. He woke up early, forced himself to run again, poured his grief into his work. But this time, his business wasn't just about money or success. It became his mission. Every piece he crafted carried his father's spirit, his father's words, "Don't die with your song still inside you." And slowly, something shifted. His business grew bigger than ever. Customers weren't just buying products. They were buying a story, a message of resilience. People connected with his passion, his authenticity. And with every success, Daniel realized something powerful. Pain can destroy you, or it can build you. The choice is yours. Now, let's pause and talk about you. Right now, there's something in your life weighing you down. Maybe it's financial stress. Maybe it's heartbreak. Maybe it's the fear that you'll never be enough. I want you to hear me. You are not broken. You are not done. You are in the process of becoming. Becoming stronger. Becoming wiser. Becoming unstoppable. And here's the thing. Your turning point doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to come from tragedy. It can start right here, right now, with a single decision. The decision to no longer accept mediocrity. The decision to no longer live in fear. The decision to step fully into your potential. I'll give you an example from history. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost multiple elections, and suffered deep depression. Yet he became one of the greatest leaders in history. Why? Because he refused to let failure define him. He refused to let pain silence his song. That's the secret. Unstoppable people aren't fearless. They're just unwilling to let fear have the final word. So I ask you, what's your song? What's the thing inside you that's been silenced by fear, doubt, or the opinions of others? Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's changing careers, or repairing a broken relationship, or standing up for yourself after years of staying quiet. Whatever it is, promise yourself today that you will not leave this life without giving it everything you've got. Because the worst thing you can do isn't failing, it's never trying. Let me remind you of something. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. Daniel's courage didn't erase his grief. It didn't make the road easy, but it gave him strength to keep moving, to honor his father's memory by living fully, boldly, relentlessly. And in doing so, he became unstoppable, not because he never broke, but because he refused to stay broken. So, here's the challenge for you today. Don't wait for tragedy to wake you up. Don't wait for loss to remind you that life is short. Don't wait for permission from the world to chase your dreams. Take this moment, right now, as your turning point. Because one day, your life will flash before your eyes. And when it does, you don't want to see a list of regrets. You want to see a story worth telling. You want to see a life lived fully, fiercely, without apology. And you can. You absolutely can. But you have to start now. The road will be hard. You will stumble. But every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the unstoppable version of yourself. Remember Daniel, standing in that garage, staring at the words his father never lived to fulfill? That moment changed everything for him. And maybe this is your moment. Maybe this is where your unstoppable journey truly begins. So ask yourself, will you let fear write your story? Or will you pick up the pen and write it yourself? Becoming unstoppable is never about a single breakthrough. It's about what happens after. It's about how you rise again and again when life keeps testing you. Daniel's turning point gave him new fire. His business grew, his message spread, but with growth came bigger challenges. More competition, more pressure, more responsibility. And here's the reality. Every new level of life brings a new devil. The obstacles don't disappear. They just evolve. But Daniel had learned something most people never realize. Obstacles are not there to stop you. They're there to grow you. And with every challenge, he discovered a deeper level of strength he didn't know he had. One day, Daniel was invited to speak at a local event. He had never spoken in public before, and the thought terrified him. His hands shook, his stomach churned, and that old voice of doubt crept back in. You're not a speaker. You'll embarrass yourself. Stay quiet. But then he remembered his vow. Don't die with your song still inside you. So he walked up to that stage, voice trembling, heart pounding, and shared his story, the failures, the grief, the vow he made in his father's garage. By the time he finished, the room was silent. And then, a standing ovation. People weren't just moved, they were changed. Some walked up with tears in their eyes, saying, "That's my story too. I needed to hear this." That day, Daniel realized something powerful. When you refuse to stay silent, your story becomes someone else's survival guide. And that's another truth about being unstoppable. You don't just rise for yourself. You rise for others. Think about it. Every great leader, every change maker, every unstoppable soul wasn't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for the people who would come after them. Harriet Tubman didn't escape slavery just to save herself. She went back, again and again, to free others. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't fight for comfort. He fought for justice, for future generations. When you become unstoppable, you light a path for others who are lost in the dark. Daniel's speaking opportunities grew. His story traveled further than he ever imagined. But along with success came critics. And here's the truth, you will be criticized. No matter what you do, there will be people who try to tear you down. Some will envy you, some won't understand you, some just want to see you fail. But listen closely. The presence of critics is proof you're doing something that matters. Unstoppable people don't waste energy trying to please everyone. They know their mission, they walk their path, and they let the noise fall away. And maybe that's where you've been stuck, trying to please too many people. Maybe you've let the fear of what others think keep you from moving forward. But let me remind you, other people's opinions don't pay your bills. They don't live your life. They don't carry your dreams. So why give them power? Why let their judgment decide your destiny? As Daniel grew, he discovered another truth. Being unstoppable isn't just about pushing harder. It's also about purpose. Without purpose, persistence fades. Without purpose, even success feels empty. Purpose is the fuel that keeps you moving when the road gets rough. So, I ask you, what's your purpose? What wakes you up in the morning? What makes you willing to fight, sacrifice, endure? If you don't know yet, that's okay. Start by asking, what breaks my heart? What makes me angry enough to want to change it? What would I do even if I wasn't paid? Somewhere in those questions lies your purpose. Daniel found his purpose in helping others unleash their potential. His father's unfinished dreams became his mission, to make sure no one else buried their song. And that purpose gave him strength when the nights were long, when the critics were loud, when the failures piled up. And here's the key. When you live with purpose, you stop chasing motivation. You don't need it. Motivation fades. Purpose endures. Let me share something important. If you only work when you feel motivated, you'll never be unstoppable. Motivation is like a spark. It ignites quickly, but it burns out fast. Purpose is the firewood that keeps the flame alive. Discipline is the oxygen that keeps it burning. Together, they make you unstoppable. There will be mornings when you don't feel like getting up, days when you don't feel like trying, nights when you don't feel like fighting anymore. That's when purpose steps in. That's when discipline takes over. Because unstoppable people don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, does this align with my purpose? And if the answer is yes, they act, no matter how they feel. Daniel wasn't always motivated. He didn't always feel strong. But he kept going because his purpose was bigger than his pain. And that's what kept him rising. Now, let me talk directly to you. Right now, you may be facing a storm. Maybe it's financial. Maybe it's personal. Maybe it's inside your own mind. And you're tempted to give up, to settle, to shrink. But hear me, this is not the end. This is the rise. This is your chance to prove to yourself that you are stronger than the storm. You don't become unstoppable in the sunshine. You become unstoppable in the rain, in the chaos, in the fire. That's where resilience is built. That's where warriors are made. So I challenge you. Stop seeing obstacles as curses. Start seeing them as classrooms. Every struggle is teaching you something: discipline, patience, courage, faith. And every lesson is preparing you for the future you prayed for. Daniel once said in a speech, "The day I stopped running from my struggles was the day I started running toward my destiny." And that's the truth. Your struggles aren't roadblocks. They're road signs pointing you toward the person you're meant to become. So rise. Rise even when it hurts. Rise even when you're tired. Rise even when no one claps for you. Rise because your purpose is bigger than your pain. And remember this: you are not just becoming unstoppable for you. You are becoming unstoppable for the people who will one day say, "Because of them, I didn't quit. Because of them, I found my strength." The rise is not easy, but it is worth it. And the world is waiting for you to stand tall, to fight back, to rise. We've talked about struggle, failure, loss, purpose, and rise. But becoming unstoppable is about more than just your personal journey. It's about what you leave behind. It's about legacy. At the end of your life, people won't remember every success, every dollar, every milestone. They'll remember how you lived. They'll remember your courage, your kindness, your fight, your resilience. They'll remember the fire in your eyes when you refused to give up. Daniel understood this when he was invited to speak at a national conference years after his first shaky talk. By then, he wasn't just a craftsman or a small business owner. He was a leader, a voice of resilience, a man who had turned pain into purpose. As he stood on stage, looking out at thousands of faces, he thought about his father. He thought about the plaque that read, "Don't die with your song still inside you." And for the first time, he realized he wasn't just living his song anymore. He was helping others find theirs. That's what legacy is. It's not about being unstoppable for yourself. It's about inspiring others to do the same. Think about it. Every time you rise, someone is watching. Your children, your siblings, your friends, even strangers. And your courage becomes contagious. Your perseverance becomes their permission to keep going. That's the ripple effect of becoming unstoppable. You don't just change your life, you change lives around you. And maybe you don't see yourself as a leader. Maybe you're thinking, "I'm nobody special. I'm just trying to survive." But hear me, you don't have to be famous to inspire. You don't have to have a stage or a spotlight. All you need is the willingness to keep going when others would quit. That alone makes you unstoppable. Let me remind you of something powerful. Your struggle today will be someone else's survival guide tomorrow. The pain you push through, the storm you survive, the mountain you climb, those victories will one day become the story that saves someone else. And that makes your journey worth every tear, every scar, every sleepless night. Now let's talk about the truth most people avoid. Time is running out. None of us knows how many days we have left. We live as if tomorrow is guaranteed, but it's not. One day, the clock will stop. And when it does, will you leave behind a life of excuses or a life of impact? Becoming unstoppable means living in such a way that when your time comes, you have no regrets. You gave it everything. You chased the dream. You loved fiercely. You fought bravely. You refused to settle. And listen, your journey will not be perfect. You will make mistakes. You will fail. You will fall. But unstoppable people don't aim for perfection. They aim for progress. They aim to show up again and again, no matter how messy, how difficult, how painful. That's what Daniel did. He wasn't perfect. He stumbled. He cried. He doubted. But he never quit. And because of that, he built not just a business, not just a career, but a life of meaning. A life that continues to inspire long after he leaves a room. And that's the invitation for you. To build a life so full of courage, so full of purpose, so full of persistence, that when people speak your name, they don't say, "They gave up." They say, "They never stopped." They were unstoppable. So let me ask you, what's stopping you right now? Fear? Doubt? Comfort? The opinions of others? Whatever it is, I want you to picture it. See it clearly in your mind. And then I want you to tear it down. Smash it. Break through it. Because none of those things have the power to stop you unless you give it to them. You were not born to live small. You were not born to shrink, to hide, to settle. You were born to shine, to create, to conquer, to rise. You were born to be unstoppable. And here's the final truth. Becoming unstoppable isn't a destination. It's a choice. A choice you make every single day. When you wake up tired, when you face rejection, when life hits you hard, you choose to rise. You choose to keep going. You choose to be unstoppable. So today, right now, I challenge you. Make that choice. Decide that from this moment on, nothing will hold you back. Not fear, not failure, not the past. Decide that you will rise again and again until your song is sung, your purpose fulfilled, your legacy secured. Because the world doesn't need more quitters. The world doesn't need more people playing small. The world needs fighters. The world needs dreamers. The world needs you at your boldest, your strongest, your most unstoppable. So rise. Take the risk. Chase the dream. Speak the truth. Love fiercely. Work relentlessly. And when the world tells you to stop, when life knocks you down, when fear whispers that you can't, stand tall, look it in the eye, and say, "Watch me." This is your time. This is your life. This is your moment to become unstoppable. And if this message has stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Subscribe to this channel, Short Revenge Stories, because every story here is designed to keep that fire burning inside you. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and comment below, "I am unstoppable." Say it, claim it, live it, because you are.